We're just about to start the first of my brain bashes, where you'll learn all about, well, what a brain bash is, I suppose. And these are all designed to really get the grey matter thinking. And so it's interactive, because you will hear certain things about an episode or whatever, and there's generally a point to ponder at the end, or issues raised, where it encourages you to think about what's being said, whether it's the elements that made the prisoner, or whether it's various items in one of the episodes that I pose. And then when you've thought about it, to send us an email to the address that you will see displayed on the screen, and your email will go onto the website, because that's what the prisoner is all about, isn't it? It's all about us seeing what it is all about and hearing what other people have to say. So thank you very much. Look forward to reading your views. A brain bash. So what is a brain bash? Well, it's when we explore what the prisoner is all about. We do what McGowan wanted us to do, which was first of all ask what it's all about, and then question everything. And the origins of the brain bash, I suppose, go back to my desire to meet half a dozen people in a pub somewhere and talk about and hear other people's views on the prisoner. So in the 1990s, I realised I thought we were missing a trick where we really should do this. So I decided to hold a one-day seminar in Birmingham, and I introduced all sorts of different topics, and they comprised things like, why the prisoner is a work of art, the sources, origins and inspiration of the series, the games in Checkmate. Here's one: from Kafka to Kierkegaard, Christianity to the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the majesty of fallout, and does he escape? Big questions. Beyond the prisoner, a route to freedom. I was asked to write up this booklet. Someone gave it the title, The Long and Winding Road. And there's 20,000 words that arose out of that day. And that really got me thinking. So after about 4 or 5 of these one-day brain bashes in Birmingham, each of which attracted between 40 and 50 people, I thought it had a natural home at the Portmeirion Convention to run for perhaps an hour and a bit, something like that. So I started them, and I've done quite a few now, and I try and get audience participation as well. The subjects tend to vary wildly. They're all over the place. And here's a quote from one supporter, Sarah Jenkins. The prisoner was about more than just memorabilia, about nostalgia. It was about the big questions, written by a man who had questions to ask. If no one took the time to unpick those ideas, what would have been the point of any of it? McGowan wanted to encourage debate, questions, unrest. And that's what it is. So the very first one here is actually, it's going to be, they're going to alternate. It's going to be a summarization of some of the past more interesting brain bashes, and culled from the book that I'm writing. 15 years ago, a publisher approached me and asked me to write a book on the prisoner. But I was working and I was away from home a lot. I was busy, I never had the time. It was only with retirement and lockdown in March of last year that I really had the time to make a start on the book. It's not going to be a short book. The production has been covered very well indeed, so I don't need to do much on that. What I'm looking at is analysis, interpretation, what the prisoner is saying. I'm going into it very, very deep. To do a I suppose to do justice to a single episode requires 3 months solid research and writing. To give you an idea, the chapter on Dance of the Dead runs to 18,000 words. Mind you, that is a long chapter. But I hope it to be something, someone called it a scholarly work. It is being peer reviewed by various people who are very encouraging, but it really aims to get at the heart of the series and also to be accessible. It's titled What's It All About? And I Question Everything. So anyway, here we are. This was the 2013 event. What were the elements that made The Prisoner what it was? Okay. What was the influences and contributions to The Prisoner? To what extent, in what way did these actually work? Now, I have prepared an information sheet that included a selection of writers, directors, actors, and other technical staff, music editor, producer, and so forth. Then there were specific factors or ingredients that also contributed. Portmeirion as a setting, or the search for the identity of number 1. The Danger Man episode Colony 3, which is a precursor to The Prisoner, and surrealism, fantasy, even the zeitgeist. Armed with an information sheet and again getting the audience into groups so that they could discuss their choices, the question I posed was, which 3 elements would you consider more important than the others? Patrick McGoohan was taken as read in a separate field, so not Patrick McGoohan. So here we go. Here's what some people thought. An original member from the very beginning, Glenys McCairns, selected Mark Stein for writing Arrival, introducing our protagonist, number 6. Portmeirion, and everything that set the pace and direction that defined most of the episodes. McKern, a worthy opponent for delivering tight dialogue, an equal match for McGoohan, and very slick, tight editing, fast-paced and direct, which enabled The Prisoner to have its lasting impact. Mintz and Pete, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly, Mintz and Pete Scott agreed with Glenys regarding Mark Stein and the writers for keeping the mystery and concept intact, with the illusion that there would be an explicable outcome. For their second in importance element, they suggested David Tomblin as an original core idea holder, his ability to tell the story. Their third most important ingredient was Angelo Muscat, for his constant, mysterious, level performance and unusual appearance. Although Tomblin does not feature as anybody else's choice, the writers feature heavily, with Andrew White simply saying, firstly, without a script, you have no material, and the scripts were challenging. Secondly, the directors who breathed life into the script, and third, the image, Portmeirion, the style and the sharp editing. Chris Mountain endorses Andrew's views of the writers, emphasising the scripts were thought-provoking. Chris felt Portmeirion was essential, saying it would be hard to imagine how the series could have worked without such a prison camp. Chris's third choice was the art direction. He says that without the futuristic element, the village would just have been a village. It kept you guessing what might happen next or what new tricks they might have. Every time a door opened to a new room, you thought, what's going on behind this door? Elizabeth Andrews cited the original enigmatic concept, a script that captured the spirit of the time, rebellion and existentialism. She liked the surreal representation and felt the way in which the music maintained suspense and links between the scenes. For Elizabeth, it was the existential questions of identity that were so compelling. 3 of our German contingent, Andreas, Michael and Jana, put their choices as follows. The series doesn't give answers, but asks questions and makes the viewer do too. There are many riddles. The writer Anthony's scheme for exploring the symbolism, the many levels of meaning, the importance of the subconscious, the circularity, the end is the beginning. David Bendelow also thought the writers were paramount and important for the original ideas and novel concept. He classified the fantasy and surreal element as second, and thirdly, the art direction, saying it gave the series the iconic look of the village sets to complement the exterior locations. The American group, led by Valerie Ziegler, offered in order the Zeitgeist, the Danger Man episode Colony 3, again, also citing the village, the music, the identity of number 1, the existential paradox, and for good measure, the idea of the whole earth as the village. A member who simply signed herself Jeanette gave her choices. Leo McKern, because of his important role in 3 episodes, and a real equal in the acting states for McGowan. Then the other number 2s for the variety and freshness. Finally, Rover, a monster to rival the Daleks. Joe Roberts' choices were in order: the music editor, Bob Dierberg. The importance of the music score should not be underestimated. Second, Jack Champagn's sets, the looks of them, especially control room. And third, Frank Marr, the stuntman and McGowan double, because a lot is really down to him. Joe added the 3 most obvious candidates would be Portmeirion, Clough Williams-Ellis, and Lou Grade. Finally, Jan Davis, who rated Mark Stein first, then the music, and finally Angelo. So, in summary, different elements appeal to different individuals, everything from particular actors, notably McKern, to the philosophical, from the contribution of the producer, Tomlin, to the Zeitgeist. Surveying the completed questionnaires and doing analysis, it's Mark Stein and the writers themselves that come out top, with 3 of the participating groups nominating them as the most important ingredient, with a further 2 groups nominating Portmeirion as the setting and Jack Champagn's sets as their first choice. Overall, a summary: the most votes, irrespective of whether they were first, second or third choice, it was the art direction chosen by most, gaining a score of 6. Next up was the music and the writers, both with 5 votes. Incidentally, Anthony Skeen, author of 3 episodes, would if he was selected separately, he would have got 6. And at 4 votes, it was the surrealism that appealed. The philosophical aspect, Mark Stein's contribution, and the presence of McKern all come in with 3. One can argue that Mark Stein was a writer. However, I classified him separately because he was also the script editor. I thought it interesting that Rover, such a powerful image, didn't score higher, and only 1 group mentioned the identity of number 1. But I guess this is a game that is perennial, and as long as people watch this intriguing series, there will always be debate, not just about the programme and its meanings, but about just what elements ensure its iconic status. Perhaps you might like to think about this. Select your 3 and send them in to us on the given email. We'd be fascinated to know, and they'll go up on the site. Thank you very much. The next Brain Bash will be on the episode A Change of Mind. Thank you.